11:47 a.m.
Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So happy this time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you. And I'll see you later. Bye, babe.
What are those people going to do? All the elevators are blocked out.
In a country that most people would struggle to find on a map, in a compound that few possess the courage to enter, men from my previous life took the fight to our enemy. In that compound, they found men that pray 5 times a day for your destruction. Those men don't care about your religious beliefs. They don't care about your political opinions. They don't care if you sit on the left or the right, liberal or conservative, pacifist or warrior. They don't care how much you believe in diversity, equality, or freedom of speech. They don't care. I'm sorry you've never smelled the breath of a man who wants to kill you. I'm sorry you've never felt the alarm bells ringing in your body, the combination of fear and adrenaline as you move towards the fight instead of running from it. I'm sorry you've never heard someone cry out for help or cried out for help yourself, relying on the courage of others to bring you home. I'm sorry you've never tasted the salt from your own tears as you stand at flag-draped coffins burying men you were humbled to call your friends. I don't wish those experiences on you, but I do wish you had them. Most will never understand the sacrifice required to keep evil men like those from that distant compound away from our doorstep. But it would not hurt you to try and understand. It would not hurt you to take a moment to respect the sacrifices that others make on your behalf, whether they share your opinions or not. It would not hurt you to take a moment to think of the relentless drain on family, friends, and loved ones that are left behind, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, sometimes forever. Ideas are not protected by words. Paper and ink may outline the foundation and principles of this nation, but it is blood, only blood, that protects it. In that dusty compound, a man you have never met gave everything he had so that you have the freedom to think, speak, and act however you choose. He went there for all of us, whether you loved or hated what he stood for. He went there to preserve the opportunity and privilege to believe, to be, and to become what we want. You have the choice every day as to which category you want to be in which direction you want to move. You have that choice because the best among us, the best we ever had to offer, fought and bled and died for it. Don't ever forget that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what the hell's going on with Rumble.
We got technical difficulties right now.
No,
so
we don't. Hold on. Let's see. It might work now.
Well,
I didn't set the stream up, so like I don't know why we're having issues, but I think we should be good now.
Let me reload. And I'll tell
Well,
you.
we're not getting the warning sign in StreamYard, so I think we're good. But sometimes it takes a minute for it to register.
Yeah, it's like
Nope, we're having problems still. This is frustrating. And because we use Studio, so I tried to go to the regular Rumble, and it's not letting us do that either.
Yep. Well, let's see. We got our family that's watching us on X, YouTube. We're live. We're on the screen.
Now we're live.
There,
But
there we
which
are.
one are we live? I guess we're live on the regular Rumble now.
We're on Rumble. It shows on Rumble.
Yeah. I'm just making sure. We had issues because. All right, so we're good. All right, welcome to SITREP, ladies and gentlemen. After all the shenanigans, you guys missed the intro, so
Yeah, it was, pretty interesting. A new intro. Never seen it before.
it was
You
a
guys
fake.
missed it.
It was a fake. We included that part in there at the end of the call. It was a fake. What did she say? It was a. It was a
frame.
It was a frame.
Yeah, it was a frame.
It was a frame. No, it was a frame. 9/11 was an inside job.
Allegedly.
I'm not going with allegedly anymore.
Once I learned the truth, it was like, all right, cat's out of the bag. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
After Codex 9/11, no, man. We're supposed to believe that a bunch of, Muslim guys came over from wherever, failed miserably at flying little Cessnas, and somehow managed to fly one of the most complicated aircraft that's out there in commercial realm. You go from failing at flying Cessnas to successfully navigating a 737. Well, we were told it was a 767 into a building in New York City twice with precision accuracy. Bullshit.
Then got so hot
that it melted the steel.
Yep.
But of course, their suitcase, don't worry, their suitcase survived intact. Actually, their suitcase was pulled intact, and their passports, they fell to the ground in New York City in perfect. In fact, I heard there was actually a sign there that said, "Hey, these were the hijackers." I heard that. A hijacker sniffing dog was able to recover the passports. They were the black passports too.
They
So
were
definitely CIA.
Definitely.
Because DNI did not exist at that time, or DHS. That the good old days, man. We only had one. When we only had one.
We had the FBI, the CIA,
NSA,
CIA.
and then like the National Oceanographic Institute had, like NOAA had a spy agency. Yeah, man, we didn't have. Remember the good old days when we didn't have Department of Homeland Security, Director of National Intelligence,
Isn't it wild that we got more intelligence agencies, yet more bad stuff happened than
we're more retarded?
Like, come on, man. Well, welcome to SITREP, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome. No, guys, I did not do Stinchfield. So I was on the show, and President Trump. It was setting up to be very good for us. I was coming on. They told me, hey, Trump is going to be on, but we're going to try because usually he's a little late. So we're going to try and get you on before Trump, because they get the best coverage for Trump when he does these press conferences. And so, of course, I'm sitting backstage. I'm like, all right, here we go. And Trump comes right out at 7 on the dot. And I'm like, this motherfucker.
You're like, the one time.
Yeah.
The one time.
And so then I hear him in my ear, and they're like, hey, can we get you back tomorrow? Because this is probably going to go long. And I'm like, let's wait. They're like, we could wait 15 minutes. I was like, all right, let's wait 15 minutes and see if this is quicker. And it was not a quickie. And so I'm going to be back tomorrow. They promised they'll get me out by 7:20 so I can still do Why We Vote. So making the rounds.
There you go. I mean, I mean, it's the president. You know?
I went down to my wife and I was like, I got kicked. I got booted. And they're like, for what? And I was like, well, apparently the president's more important than me.
I mean,
So,
it's
yeah.
fair. But
Yeah, it is. And
the chances of him coming out on time, bro, I would not have betted on that.
no, me neither. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be great. I'll be golden.
I would have been, dude, you're solid. He's
Yeah.
always 15, 20 minutes late. Like, we're good.
The one time a network is like all ready to go with the filler between the time when he actually comes out and he's like, I'm going to be punctual today. On time. We're going to be on time today. Yeah.
That's sending the message. Well, speaking of why you were going to go on Grinchfield.
Yeah, you know.
Why don't you kind of set up the story for?
Well, so the storm has arrived on X, shot me a DM and was like, "Hey, Stinchfield just covered your story, the Kemp story," and I was like, "Oh, that's badass." And he's like, "Yeah, but he didn't give you any credit." And I was like, "Let's see how bad it is, right? Maybe like put like sourced at the bottom, Badlands Media, something, CannCon, anything, nothing." And I think the part that really got me was like they kind of made it seem like they read the documents and they didn't because they don't have the documents. I think I'm probably one of the only people that actually has those physical documents. Maybe not. Maybe not. I know of 3 other people that have them for sure, and 2 of them because I gave them to them, and the other one gave them to me. So yeah, he ran the segment. It was, I mean, he did a decent job, just didn't give credit. So I, of course, called him out. And the problem I have with this is, you know, that story that I put out is basically accusing the governor of Georgia of committing a crime. You know, obstruction, pay for play. Like there's implications behind what I said, and we had to think long and hard about writing that. You know, I had to read 103 pages of transcripts, which is god awful. Like 50 pages of pleasantries and then 40 pages of substance. And then, you know, you have to have a little bit of knowledge of the whole story in order to, you know, like the judgeship, right? Like anybody else that read that would not know that Brian Kemp has given judgeships to other people who have thwarted election investigations. Like your average person would not know that. Right. I mean, our listeners might know that because they watch Why We Vote and they've heard me talk about, you know, the Pro V&V audit that didn't happen and all that stuff. But your average person doesn't know that. And so like this was a perfect story for me to cover because I have so much context outside of the scope of Purdue's testimony. They didn't pick up on that stuff. So that is one thing new that I'll get to, you know, bring forward when I do that. But that's a lot of work, man. This isn't stealing like a clip I made of somebody or a video that I shot with my cell phone. That's, you know, me and John and Burning Bright, we spent a lot of time going through and doing editing on that and putting all our ducks in a row and changing words around to make sure that we, you know, aren't too inflammatory. And John wanted to be more inflammatory, but seriously, he's like, "Hey, I wrote I added a little bit to the article. Read it." And I was like, "Okay." And I read it, and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna take that out. We're gonna take." But overall, it was good. It was a really good job. It was very good. But yeah. So I got done doing InfoWars this morning, and I go to check my email because I got an alert on my phone, and it's Stinchfield's producer, and he's like, "Hey, we're really sorry. We did not, you know, mean to not credit you and all that stuff. And, you know, we didn't realize that it came from you and all this." And they're like, "We'd love to have you on the show to talk about it and clear the air on this." So they'll do it tomorrow. And, you know, I'm good with that. So hopefully, you know, we get this in front of as many people as possible. We got to keep the election stories front and center right now, because that is the most important thing.
Do have an interesting question for you.
Oh, X22 just reported on it. Nice.
You know, that is cool. You know, when it comes to AI, you keep pushing on us to watermark these videos. Why wouldn't you guys watermark your documents like Badlands or CannCon, bro? Like, if you know you're one of the few people, like that is the one time. Well, it's not the one time, but that's definitely one of the times that you should prioritize watermarking. Like, dude, That was like a boot move by you, bro.
Not by me. That's by John. John actually made those clippings.
Oh.
I'm casting a shade on John. John says my highlights are the watermark. So John, when he did those little edits, he was like, "Oh, I added in the screenshots," and I was like, "Dude, I was going to add the screenshots. I just didn't want to, whatever." And I didn't even realize that he didn't watermark them, and probably should have, because the document is still pretty pretty exclusive right now. But there's going to be more, and I think we're going to find out a lot more in this RICO case. There's going to be dozens of these transcripts from that are unsealed now. Although maybe the judge is going to be like, hey, seal those things back up. This motherfucking CannCon's out here, and this guy's actually reading this shit. I thought
he's connecting dots right now, folks. We ain't doing that shit again.
Yeah, no more of that shit. No more of that.
Based off what you guys have, what do you anticipate? And obviously it's a call for speculation, but what do you anticipate is coming down the pipeline with what you've read so far? Because I mean, a lot of times when I would read like police reports or search warrants, I could kind of, especially when you have a background on the matter, which you do, I could kind of tell what was probably coming down the pipe next.
I think we're going to see that Nathan Wade and the other prosecutors, but mainly Nathan Wade, was presented with a lot of evidence that he withheld from defense in the testimonies, like them making claims and talking about things that should have been investigated but never were. Right? I mean, the True the Vote stuff absolutely should have been investigated before, even if it wasn't investigated to overturn the 2020 election. It should have been investigated if you're going to bring charges against a former president for, for whatever, the charges were in trying to interfere in the election, influencing an election.
The thing I don't get, and granted, I don't know Georgia law and these specific statutes, but I would imagine that some of these crimes were felonies. And you don't get a choice when it's a felony crime. That's the part that has me like, if you're exercising discretion, then that means that it's a misdemeanor. Now the DA can choose not to prosecute. They have that discretion, but at the investigator level, if it's a felony being reported, you don't have, there is no discretion to ignore a felony.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. I don't know, man. I know that since the story went out and went pretty viral, I've gotten a lot of people that are reaching out to me for mainly two different reasons. One is to do shows, right? I've had a bunch of people, but the other one is to get specific transcripts. And there's a couple that have asked for, I'm not going to say, whose transcript it is, but it's interested me enough that I'm dying to read this one, because I've had 3 people ask for one specific person's transcript, and it's somebody I've never heard of. And so that to me is like, there's going to be something juicy in there. And
somebody snitched to snitch a snitch.
Well, I think they're trying to. I think that the potential might be here that President Trump was set up. I think there was a setup here that they tried to bait him into something. I don't know. I'm purely speculating on this. That's pure speculation. But yeah, dude, the amount of people that have reached out specific to that person's transcript and others broadly is awesome. I cannot wait to read these documents. Like, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm going to be getting, I'll be getting them here soon, but yeah. Claire Cat says, hoping to see you on Waters and Tucker Carlson. No, you won't. You know why? Because Kemp's a Republican, and well, Tucker maybe, but Fox News won't touch this. Nobody in the mainstream's touched this. I've looked up and down, left and right. Nobody's touched this. This wasn't some Joe Schmo, nobody. This was a senator, a United States senator, speaking with the director of the GBI about the governor of the state of Georgia over the indictment of the president of the United States. I mean, what the fuck?
Well, here's the thing. And people are going to realize in a lot of these states, like Tennessee, the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, a lot of these institutions have some very corrupt people in them. The people that followed the Sean Taylor case that I did, They came in, TBI, did a search warrant of a sheriff's department looking for a specific name of a Tennessee citizen who happened to have a DoD contract for drone training in Ukraine. What does that have to do with any of the stuff that they were investigating? They wanted to see how much that they knew about this guy and his activities. And so you have this with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and how many other Bureau of Investigations in their respective states are compromised or have compromised people within them. And then when you see people getting promoted to judge, people getting promoted to Senate, like all this stuff, it's just like the infestation is so broad that if you have a legitimate whistleblower, or even if you have a legitimate investigator, who do they turn to?
So one thing that I've learned over the last couple of days, people have been reaching out to me and everything else. And one of the things I learned is that there were other people that knew about this. Now it was hearsay, right? It was hearsay, but there were other people that knew about the GBI. They didn't, not from Senator Perdue, but from other people, right? That Reynolds had said something similar to them. And I told you guys this morning on Daily that there's a fourth judge that was promoted by Kemp, appointed by Kemp to a higher position, to the Georgia Supreme Court this time. Now, I did speak with somebody that I have incredible respect for in Georgia after the show, and they said that guy legit deserves that position. But I told him, I said, he might legit deserve the position, but the timing and everything else of it, dismissing as an appellate judge, dismissing or upholding the lower court's ruling to dismiss Garland Favorito's case, the Jeffords versus Fulton County case, is still concerning. Even if the guy is a good judge and has been good and all that stuff, you could be great at your job. I've never once tried to disparage any of the people that were promoted. Vic Reynolds might be an incredible judge, and Perdue says as much in his testimony. Scott McAfee might be an incredible judge, and Sosabe, the lawyer, the district attorney from the Appalachian Circuit, might be an incredible judge. Doesn't take away from the fact that you were put there in very controversial circumstances, ignoring election evidence. So, I'll say that maybe this judge that went to the Supreme Court, the justice now, is a good guy, but maybe not, right? We don't know. It's still unusual. 4 times is a fucking pattern, man. 4 times. I mean, you do pattern recognition. Do you not see that as a pattern?
Listen, my opinion is if you're getting promoted by someone who's out there doing corrupt shit, you're not getting promoted because this person wants someone that does legitimate work in a position of power. That makes zero sense. Corruption wants other corruption in positions of power or parallel positions of power, because that's their security, that's their safety. So my opinion is, yeah, you can make a call. You can make the legal, ethical, moral calls 90% of the time, but it's that 10% of the time that you make the call that's for the deep state. That's what's going to cripple us.
Anyway, so we'll see how all this plays out. Like I said, there'll be more stories coming out here. I've got a piece on the Puerto Rico thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah, we talked about it this morning.
Oh yeah, I got a piece going out on that. I've got they're trying to smear Tulsi Gabbard so hard right now, man, and it is completely unjustified what they're doing.
Fear her. They absolutely fear her.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Granted, it's speculation, but I think it's educated speculation, seeing what we've been through the last couple of years, is if you see all, cases don't meet timelines, cases get dismissed, cases don't get charges, this wasn't signed by the right person, this person wasn't approved by the right person, all these things happening at the DOJ or like the surface level government that we all hear, but that there's the DNI that's doing RICO investigations and says, yeah, we got this, and yeah, we're looking at this. And then, she goes 97 on scene with, what's going on in Georgia,
Oh, keep going. I got one question though.
This is the threat to the institution, because the institution is playing freaking, shuffleboard with all this stuff. And because why not? It's always worked. Even when you got good people in there, they can't keep up with the apparatus because there's literally agents everywhere. And so when you have someone above all this, with minimal, layers to the onion between them and the rank and file that are doing what she needs in these RICO cases, that's a threat to them. So they have to come after her.
Yeah, the thing that I wonder is you said Gabbard's investigating a RICO case, DNI, and I don't specifically think that she's the one doing it. I think because if it's a RICO case and it involves local nationals, Americans, wouldn't it have to go to like FBI or somebody else for that investigation unless there was a foreign component?
If there's I would say that there is some type of foreign component, because if not, and I don't know the specific SOPs of how this would happen at that high of a level, but you could create, special investigative groups, that are think of it like this. We have task force of local PD with federal agents.
Okay, right.
You could create that version at a much higher echelon, with their own set of SOPs. What that looks like, I have no idea. I've never been a part of it, but you could theoretically do it. And then again, if you can show that there is some type of foreign component to the investigation, well, then you don't even have to worry about it.
We found out in her letter that the special agents in charge in I think she said in 9 of the field offices across the country are actually dual hats working for DNI, right? They're her correspondents for DNI within the FBI in intelligence and counterintelligence. So there has to be, some influence that DNI has over American domestic prosecutions and cases like that. And that the article we covered this morning, the Reuters article, you have 3 sources familiar with the matter saying that they went there to investigate foreign interference. And again, Gabbard in the article says it wasn't the case. I have a source that says that was absolutely not the case. They went there, Puerto Rico asked them to go there. They had a major problem in June of 2024. A lot of the, and this wasn't a widely reported, thing, mainly because the mainstream's the only one that can really
push it out there.
Well, yeah, and they don't want to touch anything with elections, right? So, I mean, I can't afford to fly to Puerto Rico and do any groundwork investigations or journalism down there. So all we got was the AP, and the stuff that the AP was putting out in June of 2024 was indicative of the same things that we saw in Georgia and so many other states. More paper ballots than votes cast, right? Which is indicative of the QR code signature mismatch. We had votes being flipped, which is indicative of DeKalb County and Antrim County, which we never really got to the bottom of what happened in those 2 places, although I have my theories about it. So we didn't get enough information, basically. So they went there, this team went there to do a fundamental, basic forensic analysis of the system, took machines, which I thought that was fascinating, man. Like, this happened in May, and we didn't know about it until yesterday.
I found it interesting that they took machines.
Well, that's the thing that's in congruence in paired up with what I was saying, because I've told you my theory about Rome, Georgia, and November 16th, 2020, and I still think they took fucking machines from Floyd County, Georgia, and flew them down to Guantanamo Bay. I've said that since December of 2020. I've said that, and we'll see.
Yeah, the only reason you take electronics is you've identified it as evidence, or you suspect it as evidence, or safekeeping. And safekeeping doesn't make any sense in this situation.
Well, the other thing is in the article, they talked about cellular technology, and they said that these machines had cellular technology. And, I had that confirmed from my source as well. And if you have cellular technology, which you're not technically supposed to have, you would need the physical machine to see what is, how that's in there, right? I mean, they make modems now that are the size of a fucking pinhead, right? You could get cellular modems in there that are tiny little things. So yeah, didn't somebody say they're briefing the president like today or yesterday or something on this?
I think it was John Solomon had reported that I think Tulsi was going to brief President Trump on it. I'm pretty sure, but not positive. But I think it was John Solomon.
All right. Well, let's take a breather here, get a reset, and talk about some of our sponsors.
Hey there, Earthlings. I'm here on the streets of New York to tell you about something that's literally out of this world. You know, traveling between dimensions really takes it out of you, but I've found the perfect solution. My Shroom Vibe can now be your Shroom Vibe. Elevate your frequency. Get microdose capsules, gummies, and chocolate bars at myshroomvibe.com. Use code BADLANDS for 10% off your order. Trust me, galaxy hopping demands balance, and ours comes from Mother Nature. Organic, not synthetic. It's the real deal. Cy Lee, if you know what I mean. Check it out. Your frequency will thank you. Visit myshroomvibe.com. Organic goodness, not synthetic. Use code BADLANDS.
Sally, if you know what I mean. All right, guys, smash that thumbs up if you have not done so. We're just getting started here. Me and Alpha go on these little side tangents, and
they're interesting though.
Yeah, that was a good side tangent. I'm willing to.
I have to capitalize on these moments when I got you for this election stuff.
There you go. There you go. Well, you can have me anytime. You just ask me, and I'll come on. All right, guys. What is really on your plate? Grocery store beef could have dozens of DNA profiles. Ugh. Chicken labeled organic or natural, often just processed and shipped in bulk from the same two companies, no matter the store or the label. At Rattlesnake Meats, they control every single step. Raising, aging, packing, no subsidies, no big ag middlemen, just real honest meat that tastes like it should. Order straight from the farmer. Order from Rattlesnake Meat Company today. Head to rattlesnakemeats.com/Badlands and use promo code Badlands to get started. Again, that's rattlesnakemeats.com/Badlands, promo code Badlands, and check them out. The quality of meat from Rattlesnake Meats compared to your grocery store is infinitely better. Like not a little bit better, infinitely better. Like salt and pepper only on the steak and you're good. Like that kind of good.
Nice.
Yeah, like that kind of good.
All right.
I love Rattlesnake. All right, so maybe we'll get back into this conversation, but we promised we were going to do this, kind of highlight of a veteran every single show now. We're going to start doing this. And so we played this morning, but let's go ahead and play this again. This is Staff Sergeant Michael Ollis, and this is his family. We'll get into his backstory in a second, but this was his family speaking with our beloved President Donald J. Trump.
Speaker, don't forget.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mr. Ollis?
Speaking.
Hi, this is Chamberlain from President Trump's office. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I am the president calling for you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
One moment. Of course.
Like, how nervous is he right now?
It's the president, bro. I mean, who's not going to be nervous?
I couldn't even imagine, dude. Like, that is wow.
Listen, I'd be nervous.
I'd be like, hi, Donnie, what's up, brother?
Be like, yo, homie, what's going up, POTUS?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen, bro. We'd square away.
Straight back to the yellow footprints, man. And he's a veteran.
Robert and Linda.
Hi, Mr. President.
Hi, Mr. President. How are you?
Well, how are you both? Okay.
We're nervous.
We're very nervous.
I know you should be because your son is going to get the highest
honor that you can have. There's no higher honor than the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Oh,
Well,
He's going to get it, and Michael is going to be, he's looking down at you right now,
aw.
and he's saying, well, my mom and dad are handling this pretty well.
oh, I hope so. Thank you so
Oh, my
much,
gosh.
President, Mr. President.
Great.
You have no idea the happiness we have.
Thank you for facilitating this. This is so wonderful of you. We are so thrilled because we've been working on it for so long and spoke to so many people, but you made it happen.
Good, yeah, we made it. So you let people know about your boy, right? It's what you did, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Otherwise, how are we going to know, right? You know, people don't know.
Right.
So I think that's fantastic.
And
You did a good job, and he did an even better job, right? And you're going to come to the White House soon. They'll work it out, and we're going to have a ceremony for a few of them, and all brave people. But I read what your son did, and it's. I wouldn't do it, Linda. I wouldn't do it. Okay.
I'm not brave enough either.
neither am I. Even though I'm a Vietnam vet, I still wouldn't have done it.
No.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful looking guy too. I have a picture.
Oh, thank you.
I just read his story.
Thank you.
I will see you in the White House soon.
Oh,
Yes! We're going to the White House! We love you! We're playing for you every day. Yes!
Daughter.
Let's do this! MAGA!
That's beautiful.
Yes!
Bring them all down. Hey, Robert and Linda, bring them all down.
Okay.
I certainly will.
We will.
I certainly will.
Yes.
Go celebrate.
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And your boy is proud of you. Have a good time. I'll see you at the White House.
Oh,
Okay,
wonderful. Can't
thank you
wait.
for the call.
Thank you for the call.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye
Okay.
now.
Bye-bye.
Yes!
He wants the Joker. He's like, that was the president. You don't talk to the president like that. He's just like, come on. Oh,
if God forbid I was ever in that position, that probably would have been my family in the background, like my youngest sister, my younger oldest sister might have, but definitely my youngest sister would have been like that.
but you know what? Those are the ones that Trump will remember.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I remember you. You're the one with the crazy.
You're the one that was crazy, screaming in the background." So let's just talk real quick about what Staff Sergeant Michael Olis did. And here we go. This is from December. He died August 28th, 2013 in Operation Enduring Freedom. So that was in Afghanistan. 24, Staten Island, New York. Assigned to 2nd Battalion, 22nd Infantry Regiment, 1st Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mount Division, Light. Fort Drum, died August 28th. Fort Drum, soldier killed. Staff Sergeant Michael Olis of 2nd Battalion, 22nd Infantry Regiment. Let's see. I should have highlighted this. Stepped into the path of an unarmed Polish officer, blocking him from the suicide vest of an insurgent who had raided forward operating base Ghazni. Quote, in emotional interviews with investigators, the Polish officer repeatedly praised Staff Sergeant Olis and credited him with saving his life. According to an Army account on August 28th, the 24-year-old from Staten Island has since been nominated for Silver Star, the third highest military decoration for valor. Of course, now we know that that's been upgraded to a Medal of Honor. According to an Army source, the nomination is working its way through Olis's chain of command. I was hoping for more of a warrant. I hadn't read this because I wanted the reaction to be, okay, here it is, the attack. I wanted my reaction to be, first genuine.
Zoom in a little bit more on it.
Yeah, sure.
All right, good.
Let me scroll over here and then up here. All right, Milley, Mark Milley, bleh, called the Ghazni defense a tough fight, but said the enemy completely failed in achieving any kind of operational strategic effect. In a ceremony on Sunday at the base, 4 American and 2 Polish Army soldiers were recognized for valor in the attack, which began when a car bomb breached the base's eastern perimeter wall, allowing 10 insurgents in suicide vests to infiltrate the compound. The massive blast from the car bomb reverberated across the post at 3:54 a.m. on August 28th, kicking off an assault from the east, west, and north sides as insurgents rained mortar shells, shoulder-fired rockets, and hand grenades from outside the post, according to Army accounts. Though it's highly unlikely insurgents would have been able to overrun the base, it holds strategic importance as ISAFs, that's the coalition forces of everybody, local headquarters and a traffic hub to Gardez and coast to the east. Troops who headed to the blast site to aid the wounded found insurgents in suicide vests with assault rifles who had poured through the breach. The two sides locked in 10 minutes of close combat as coalition troops fought through gunshots and shrapnel wounds. Meanwhile, Olis, who first accounted for his men in a bunker, raced towards the bomb blast, massive white smoke plume, and the sound of gunfire. Olis linked up with a Polish officer he did not know, and then with a team of special forces soldiers who had killed 8 of the insurgents wearing suicide vests. A 9th suicide bomber emerged from behind a group of containers, threw a grenade, and was killed. A 10th emerged from behind some other containers near the Polish officer and Olis, who was the closer of the two. As Staff Sergeant Olis stepped toward the insurgent, he stepped in front of the Polish officer, thereby blocking him when the insurgent's vest detonated, according to the Army account. In the attack, Olis and a Polish soldier were killed. 10 Polish soldiers and a dozen Afghans were reportedly wounded. Afghan forces averted a larger tragedy by finding and neutralizing a second car bomb near the base. According to the Army, 2 Afghan soldiers received certificates of appreciation for rendering the second car bomb safe. Olis's comrades told Army Times that they were not surprised that Olis, who joined the Army in 2006 and had previously deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, died saving the life of another soldier. They praised Olis as courageous and diligent and said he felt a genuine sense of responsibility for keeping his soldiers safe. Quote, that was the way he was brought up, and I think it would have made everybody proud to know that he went out there to take the fight to the enemy, said Sergeant First Class Tim Sereno, who served with Olis in Afghanistan in 2010. He is still protecting his men and was leading from the front, said Sereno. Now with the 4th Ranger Training Brigade. You couldn't ask for anything more. And I think that's it for the actual warrant. I would have liked to have gotten the full warrant, but I did not. But that's pretty badass. It sounds like they got overran, and guys with like last resort, like we'll do the gunfire first and suicide vest as a last resort. And he stood in the gap between him and a guy he didn't even know, not even from his country. It's pretty badass, man.
Well, you can tell when they interviewed the guy that he saved, and they said an emotional response. Can you imagine that, man? Like, you're alive, but you know that it's because someone else sacrificed their life for you. Like damn. You know?
No greater sacrifice than he who would lay down his own life for another.
No, I agree. I mean, it's biblical. It's just one of those things that I wonder what goes through the minds of the people that survive, a scenario like that.
Survivor's guilt for sure. I couldn't imagine it, man. Like I know in a situation like that, I know that every Marine I've ever served with, and I know you as well, would have done the same thing, right?
You just react.
It's just a reaction. It's just how we're trained. And, that guy, now granted that Olis was in the Army, although I think the way it sounds, he might've been a Ranger, which is, step above your Army regulars, not to cast shade at my Army buddies out there, but, but Marines are just different. Infantry, Army, just different. Like, the grunts, we just got a different mindset. It's pretty crazy, man. I wonder if he knew that it was a Polish officer. He had to have known, right? I mean,
I would think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure at that point, you what's going on. You're aware of who's who, from the good guys that are there, because, you're probably even, I mean, I don't know what the environment for them was like, but something like that goes down. You start wondering, are any of the guys that you think were good guys that are behind you not good guys? And, you're doing a double take just to make sure you don't got,
There we go. Matrix Breaker 8. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:13. There we go. Better said than me. I was not quite as eloquent. Eloquent is spoken and elegant is looking.
Eloquent
is spoken.
Elegant
is your actions.
Yes, I believe so.
So just to show you guys how fucking psychotic Marines are. And I told Alpha before the show, I actually dug up my warrant, but I don't want to read my warrant after that guy's warrant. So
Yeah, no. Well, one, I still like to hear it.
I'll read it. Just I'm gonna break the air.
You know, with his dad being a vet too, and I like the fact that he made sure to let the president know, you know, I'm a vet too. You know, I have a son, who's 18 now, and graduating, and the military is one of his options. And it's one of those things where you're so proud, but it's also so terrifying because you know what we saw. And then you know, and nobody likes to ever imagine the worst case scenarios, but people with our lifestyle choices, that's just the way we operate, you know? So we're not caught off guard. And you ask yourself, like, man, if something happens to my kid, you know, is it because he followed in my footsteps? Like, you know, that's a rough one for a dad, dude. You know, and I'm speculating. I don't know, but it's things that I consider now.
If I could go back to 2000, you know, the mid 2000s, and have the same knowledge that I have now about everything that took place in that timeline, in that time frame, I don't think I would have enlisted. However, if I knew what the Marine Corps meant to me and what the brothers that I made when I was in the Marine Corps, if I knew how I felt about it then, right? How I felt about them. And of course, my service to the country, right? Like I don't think anybody joined the Marine Corps in that time frame and didn't think that this is the right thing to do, right? I still don't think that we had any business in either of those two wars, but we joined for the right reasons. You know, our intentions we were pure of heart in doing what we were told was this thing. So if I could take that knowledge today under President Trump, I would enlist. So you get what I'm saying?
I do. You know, it's one of those impossible what if scenarios. You know, because you know, part of you says, well, now if I knew I was getting used, I wouldn't do it. But then again, it's the reason you enlisted is because of that duty. So I think you would enlist, and you would be like, you know what, I'm gonna take control and expose it from the inside. I'm going to get myself into positions to be a whistleblower that can topple this. I'm going to like, I think you change your mission, but I think, you know, some fighters, warriors, like whatever, you know, title you want to give, that's just what you're born for. Like you don't like, there are some kids, it's funny. Like sometimes I take my little one, you know, to like the playground or something, right? And you know, there's a bunch of kids. like there's a Marine, like I spot out the Marine that's like, you know, 13 years away and be like, yeah, that kid's going to the Marines. It's just, there's some people that just, it's what you're destined for. You know, there's a mindset and a skill set that your creator puts in you for a purpose. You know, it's just, I get what you're saying, but I think you still enlist, man. I don't think there's anything that changes it. You might have a different purpose or a different motive, but I don't think there's anything that stops you from serving.
If I had the mindset that I have now, I would not have enlisted in the Marine Corps infantry. I might have, like you said, I might have done something that I could have made a difference in terms of the battle itself, whether that's go to college and become an officer to lead Marines, or whether it's to go DIA, you know, defense intelligence route, or something where you could actually make a difference in the actual progression of the war rather than the on the ground battle. Because I don't believe in the battle that we were in. I don't. I believe.
Let me ask you this
in
question.
The orders that I was given, and I believe in the man to my left and to my right, and will ever always love the Marine Corps. Always.
So let me give you this crazy. I don't know if this be considered a paradox or not, but think about a move or a series of moves or decisions that you made while you were in theater. And because of those decisions, moves, or even your own individual, you know, shots fired, saved one of your guys' lives.
Of course.
Now remove yourself from that equation. And what if there's no one there to make that good judgment call, and now someone loses their life?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not saying like
I'm saying it's a crazy scenario when you weigh it out. I asked this. I'm trying to navigate this, right? Because I ain't trying to lose my man card on I deal with this battle more often than I like. And when I go back to March of 2011, man, I think about every decision I made that night. You know, to the place we chose to eat, to the time we chose to put gas, and just wonder, you know, if I had not even been a cop, you know, is my bro Jermaine still here? You know, and it's and I tell myself that, you know, all these things could have changed them, but then I look at the other side, and that's why I asked you that question. You know, there's a lot of lives that I saved.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wasn't a cop, those lives don't get saved. You know, there was a lot of tactical decisions that I made that saved people's life. And sometimes, and it's the part that it just sucks because it's just so fucking unfair and wrong. It just sometimes there's just some people that they're gonna have to pay the price so other people can live.
Of course.
And we don't get to pick them and choose them. We just facilitate that mission, man. But yeah.
Well, and I totally, I mean, I totally understand the service that you did in, you know, in service to our country, your state, your community as law enforcement. I get that. And that's a necessity always, right? We always got to have law enforcement. You always have to have the, you know, the sheepdog protecting its flock from bad actors. And you guys did that. And my point is that like, I think the reason I said it this way is because I believe in Donald Trump as a commander in chief. I don't believe in George Bush as a commander in chief through the perspective that I have now. And I was too young and naive to know that George Bush and Barack Obama were horrible commander in chiefs. You can't be a good commander in chief if you don't have a pure heart. Now, I don't know that Donald Trump necessarily has a pure heart, but he's got a much purer heart than either Bush or Obama had, right? And so my point was that under this president, knowing what I know about what war is like, I would go to war. But knowing why we went to war, but not knowing what war was like, I wouldn't go to war in 2005, 2008, around that time frame. That's my only point. So, you want to talk about how Marines are fucking lunatics?
I would love to talk about.
Yeah, let's change the air a little bit. So I saw this, and I know that this is like a Y Crumbs thing, but I saw this and I was like, this is the fucking epitome of the Marine Corps right here. Not in combat, obviously, but just notice all the extracurriculars going on in this video. Okay, first off, does every unit have the token Central American guy that's here for a green card? Because I had one and he's the badass. I love that motherfucker.
It was one of my boys. Richard Mejia, if you're out there, bro, miss you.
Barely speaks any English, but is one of the hardest working motherfuckers you'll ever meet. And this guy just reminded me of him, and he's skating off. So and just real quick, for those that don't know what's going on here, this is called, like, we used to call these like the Gauntlet, the Royal Rumble, and you basically have like either 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 10-on-10 grappling matches. And every time you tap out, you free up another guy to go double team somebody else in a fight. And so this guy's getting down to where he's the last man standing for his team and he's royally fucked. And no, that is not a bowl haircut. That is called a low reg. And that means you're salty as fuck.
Too hard living, but I'm afraid to die.
So then you see this motherfucker right here. Look at this guy. Okay, never mind. I thought that was blood. That's a mouthpiece. But I thought it was blood when I watched it because I didn't pause it. So I thought that was blood, and I was like, okay, that's hardcore. And then this motherfucker over here with a monster in his hand. PT 6 a.m. Yep, definitely drinking some monsters.
I don't know what's up there.
And then this motherfucker in the middle right here. He's got 4 other Marines on him. He's like, yeah, just a matter of just hold your hands like this and pray that you can go like more than 10 seconds without tapping out. Plus, you got all these motherfuckers right here who didn't get the morning brief and they're wearing the wrong uniform of the day.
Beyond the sky. It's
all right. So one last thing right here. And I just noticed this the first time right here. This will be the hat tip too. Oh no, that's not the hat tip. Okay. So this is McMap, one mind, any weapon. Never mind. I thought that was when that went in full speed. I thought those were artillery tubes or mortar tubes. And I was going to say
a rifle and a K-bar, right?
K-bar. Yeah. That's one mind, any weapon. That's McMap, Marine Corps. Did you have McMap when you were in?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think it started. I think it might have started that same year. Let me look it up. Let's see if it started in 2001.
All right. Well, and for those of you that can actually see it, this motherfucker right here is the guy with the belligerent haircut. He's got the highest high and tight that you could ever imagine. Dude's got it taped up. He's got a receding hairline. Man, that's every unit in the Marine Corps right there. That's every unit in the fucking Marine
Yeah,
Corps.
2001. I was gonna say I remember it started with us that first year.
McNap was badass, man. Like I genuinely enjoyed after you get away from the tan belt. Like the boot camp tan belt was gay. The light green belt, I don't even remember what it was, like aqua or something like that. Teal belt. That was
you got to remember, we were in the inception, bro. Colors didn't matter, dude. Like all colors represented was like how many hours, but dude, they were hitting you with black belt shit on like your first day, dude. Like you got that Marine that's just like, I get go in here and I get teach these other Marines martial arts, and it's like these guys got no history, they got no backgrounds. You're like, sweet Jesus. It was like, you know, it's they disbanded it, didn't they?
No, not that I know of. I think they're still doing
it. No, I think let me look that up. I think they did disband it.
I hope not.
Or maybe they just renamed it, but I think
has not gotten rid of McMap. I think you're confusing Raiders and MARSOC, maybe. Because they did get rid of MARSOC.
Maybe
they went back to Marine Corps Raiders. Because that was kind of suck. You guys are so boot. Clay, I will whoop your ass, man. I was a brown belt, all right? And I had the hours for black belt. I just never got it. So I will beat your ass. No, I'm just kidding. He's a gunny. He's got sharp ass knife hands.
But did they even have an obstacle course back then? What did Clay and those guys do? They just went under barbed wire and mud. Did they have like Stairway to Heaven and all that? Like I don't think they had any of this stuff that just screamed like insurance casualties.
No, they tell the stories in boot camp when the drill instructors could still put hands on. You know, that's their stories. They're like, oh yeah, boot camp was so hard. And then we got to the fleet and it was like, we didn't have air conditioning everywhere. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Did you ever stay in the Kwanzaa huts? Did you ever get a taste of that?
Kwanzaa huts? No.
The ones that look, they look like a little half of a Pepsi can.
Oh, we called them Connex. Not Connex. What the fuck do we call them?
It was a Kwanzaa hut.
The only time we stayed in them was at 29 Palms in the middle of the desert. And yeah, in the winter it's beautiful. In the summer it's fucking brutal because it's like 200 degrees inside of one of those.
Clay says it has progressed. It all started from the line program for which I was. Clay's old school. I'm not going to take that away from him, but I don't know. See, I'm gonna get my ass kicked by Clay when I see him. Clay comes from a generation of the Marine Corps when that's why people didn't think the Marine Corps was smart. And then the Marine Corps advanced. And then you got smart dudes that also wanted to be shit kickers. Now, granted, I know Clay's brilliant. But he's an anomaly. Like it's Clay's generation of Marines is why they call us crayon eaters. And you know it's true, Clay. Like, you know it's true, bro. Because our generation of Marines, like, we were actually fuck smart. Like,
you're gonna get us in so much trouble, man. Then he's gonna come in fucking throwing knife hands everywhere the next time we see him.
Oh,
he's gonna come in just whoosh, 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 whoosh. Maybe it'll be Tennessee. That's not too long to drive for him. All right, and here's this one. Where's my Army dogs at? Where's my Army dogs at? Army boot camp versus Marine Corps boot camp.
All right, listen up, everybody. Take your cell phones out, hold them up. All right, on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Brown, Command Sergeant Major Carr, welcome to 120th AG Battalion, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Take your phones, turn them off, put them in your bags. All right, I'm a drill sergeant. Everyone wearing a hat like this or something similar is a drill sergeant. You will address us as drill sergeant. Do you understand? Yes, drill sergeant. From here on out, the last 3 words out of your mouth will be yes or no, drill sergeant. Do you understand? Yes, drill sergeant. So a few things are going to happen. First, when I tell you to get off my bus, females, you're going to get out first. You're going to go to the vertical yellow lines on the left side in front of you. Males, you're going to go to the vertical yellow lines on the right side. Your paperwork will be in your left hand. Your bags will be in your right hand. Paperwork in the left hand, bags in the right hand. Females on the left, males on the right. You will have your heels, both of your heels together on the vertical yellow lines. Do you understand? Yes, drill sergeant. You have 2 minutes to get off my bus. Go.
Back, your hands up, and look at me right now. Scream, I sir. No, scream louder than that. From this point forward, every time I open my face, you will respond back. Do you understand? Scream loud. Now, when I tell you, you're gonna get all your crap. Get up and get off my bus. Get on my yellow footprints. 42 side by side. Do you understand? That's not screaming. Aye, sir. Get up. Okay, sit down. Scream louder than that. Get up. Get off my bus.
I remember that, man, especially because, you know, we were on the older side. You know what I mean? We had, 2 years? Not a lot, sometimes 3 if you had some 17-year-olds in there. I was just, I got this. I know what I'm getting into. And those first 30 minutes, you're like,
what the fuck did I get myself into?
You remember going to that red box that they got the payphone in? Or I don't know if it's a payphone or a regular phone.
Good morning, Mom. I have arrived safely at Paris Island, and I am letting you know that I'm here safe and sound. I love you. Bye.
Say another word. Say another word.
That was right after we got tested to see if we were flat-footed.
Oh,
and we got to make that phone call. Yeah, there's no comparison, man. Like Marine Corps boot camp. I know. They're always like, oh, the guys that talk about boot camp stories are the guys that never saw some shit when they were in. No, I saw some shit when I was in. Boot camp fucking sucked.
Saw guts hanging from a tree like Christmas decorations. Saw some shit. Boot camp sucked. Yeah. Listen, I understand there's a difference in the level of danger, but I'd rather do 3 months in Iraq than 3 months in boot camp.
100%. Like like somebody would be like, would you rather go to boot camp again for 3 months or go over to Iraq and possibly die? I'd be like, Iraq. Well, Afghanistan for me. Afghanistan. 100%. Wait, are you sure? Yeah. Oh yeah. Fucking absolutely sure. Yeah. No question.
I think the longest days I ever had in my life were boot camp.
I mean, the Crucible was one of the worst things ever. By far. All right.
Are there things from the Crucible that stick out in your mind?
Yes.
Like distinct memories that you remember?
The walk home sucked ass because I think it's 72 hours and I think you get like 3 hours of sleep the whole time. I remember it was summer. I was in the Crucible. I graduated in July. So the Crucible, yeah, it was summer, July. And I remember freezing my ass off at night. And I'm like, it's fucking July. How am I freezing my ass off? And so the 1.5 hour that I got to eat or got to sleep, I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted. I remember some of the events that we did. Like we had to do team building events. Like you would have like these crazy obstacles that like you can't accomplish unless you have a team. Like you would have a pole that's like 30 feet high, just a pole, and you would have to get like a book up on top of the pole. And you're like, well, how the fuck are we going to do this? And we're like, oh, well, you lean down here and I'll climb on you and you'll climb on me and we'll go all the way up to the top. And like, that didn't work. And they're like, oh, well, you got a rope here. What are you going to do? Just dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
But I do remember I got in a fight with this big ass Puerto Rican motherfucker that I'm still really good friends with to this day. But he was shining his moonbeam in my fucking eyes on a night walk. And I turned around and he barely spoke a lick of English at the time. And I turned around, I'm like, what the fuck, motherfucker? Get your light out of my face. He's like, fuck you. And we're just going back and forth. And we threw some blows in the back of the line there. And nobody knew because it was nighttime and we had our lights out. But yeah, the Crucible was fun, man.
Dude, there's the obvious ones like the EGA and, you know, Mount Motherfucker and all that. But a memory that just doesn't leave me was, you remember the night where, and because I'm assuming we probably, like they're pretty similar, where you build the hooches, break down the hooches, build the hooches, break down the, you know, you go to this area, you think you're going to sleep, you build your hooch, the old hooches with the heavy leather, whatever they're made of, like the clay shit, right? The clay tents. You go, you built it, then you take it down right when you lay in there and you built it. And so they do this to you through the whole night. And then following that, you got to get these ammo cans, these heavy ammo cans. And I don't remember where we were carrying it. It's night, early morning, it's dark as shit. And all I remember was like, I remember thinking, are my arms stretching? because the ammo cans felt like close to the ground. All like are my tendons and like all that shit stretching? But you know, hindsight is like, no, you're probably just like bending your knees like a duck, you know what I mean? But I just remembered those ammo cans felt like they were 50 pounds, 100 pounds a pop. And I felt like my arms were stretching. Like I remember thinking like, I'm just, my arms are going to fall off. I'm just going to keep going until my arms fall off. Now, obviously your arms ain't going to fall off. They're not going to let your arms fall off, but that's the shit you're thinking.
Do some permanent damage.
But, yeah. You know,
we had, I think I've told this story before, but on the Crucible towards the very end where they're trying to wear you down.
Hold on. Time the fuck out. Time the fuck out, Clay. Nope. Nope. He says,
yeah,
Mount Motherfucker, Alpha Fake Marine. First of all, okay, MCRD in Pendleton, we had mountains. We're going to go here again. Okay, Clay and CannCon. First of all, y'all went to a co-ed boot camp. You're already starting off at like negative 15 points. Two, you had no mount, you had hills, and your biggest war story is sand fleas. Sand fleas. Like, come on.
So, Clay, a couple months ago when I was in Camp Pendleton, for my first time ever, I met a first sergeant that was getting out that had been in both the East Coast and the West Coast. And I asked him, which boot camp would you rather attend? And he said, West Coast, bar none. And I said, why? He said, the weather's gorgeous and it was no big deal. And I was like, what about Mount Motherfucker? He's like, man, that's a thing that these fucking West Coast faggots talk about like it's some big deal. The fucking swamp was way worse than Mount Motherfucker. So eat a bag.
Until you've done Mount Motherfucker, you can't say shit about
just
for the audience.
Said I did Mount Motherfucker. There you go.
Listen, there's doing it as already being in infantry or force recon. He was probably out there at Las Flores. You know, there's a difference between doing it and your body's built and designed for that. You've already established confidence. Yeah, it's going to be an easier obstacle. But in that breakdown period to earn the EGA, Mount Motherfucker is Mount Motherfucker. And just so the audience can understand and paint the picture, not the entire mountain, but there's a large portion of the mountain as you start to approach the peak where it's, and remember, you got your rucksack that's filled with everything. As you're climbing, if you put your arm straight out like this, you touch the mountain. All right. If you put your arm straight out in front of you while you're walking, you're touching the mountain. So for those of you that do treadmills and incline, do the math. All right? Do the math. And you got all that heavy shit. And you're doing this at the end of a 3-day evolution where you're sleep deprived, you're hungry, you're broken, you don't know what's going on. And I'm just like, you know what? I would trade anything just to get bit by a couple flies and deal with some humidity right now. Just saying.
Clay's putting his kill hat on now. Bitches, until you graduate DI school, please. Oh man, geez, Louise. Yeah. So
the three of us should go to Pendleton and record us doing Mount Motherfucker.
So when I was out there, I asked, and I was like, "Can I get on Mount Motherfucker?" And they're like, "No, you got to have fucking training ops to get out there. You can't be just go out there." And I was like, "Oh,
if we're doing it for a documentary."
No, they won't let me. I asked him. I was like, "Dude, I'm doing this. Like, I told him I'm gonna document this. Like, I want to document it." He's like, "No, we can't get you out." And this was for a fucking first sergeant that was retiring.
Bro, I think we have someone.
Can't do it.
I think we have someone that can make that happen for us.
Nah, that's the chair force, man. You can't do that. That won't happen.
No. I think there's someone that we could say, hey, we need about 8 hours. What? It's like a 30-minute pump. No, we need about 8 hours. Because we gotta spend 2 hours looking at it, planning how we're gonna tackle it. Then we got to bitch about what we're going to take and what we're not going to take. 3 hours are going to elapse before we even put boots on it.
When we were in 29 Palms, we climbed the mountains out there for fun. And those were not like, I saw Mountain Motherfucker, right? Like I saw it. And I mean, it's like
from a distance.
But there's paths up there though. This was like
it from a distance.
I know.
And then going like this.
I understand that. The mountain that we went up in 29 Palms was solid rock. Like you were like climbing like rock. It wasn't like walking up and it's a little steep. My hamstrings might burn. No, this was like legit, like fucking like climbing up the mountain. Like not like that fucking North Korean dude we played on Y-Chromes when you were sulking still about your 49ers, but close to that. Oh man,
I bet you Clay has a connection too. Although we're gonna have to consider this. Clay's gonna pass out,
bro. Most of the people that Clay would have a connection to in the Marine Corps are dead now.
That's right. They're in the history books.
Come on, bro. That guy Clay served with Chesty fucking Puller.
This is true. This is true. The thing we got to figure out is which one of us is carrying Clay down, because he's gonna pass out. Bro. He's gonna pass out. He's going to be force recon.
Oh man. Oh, we're giving him shit. All right. So what do we got? We got about 17 minutes left, Keck. We did want to talk about the PSYOPs that are going on right now, and the PSYACs that are going on right now. We talked about one this morning. The Ed Martin thing was fascinating, and I haven't let it go. I know we talked, and I haven't let it go, but I'll give it over to you, man. What you got?
Hold on.
Here we go.
So here's
fucking Clay's in there with his old core grit. Old core.
You know what? I do got to say, me and Clay do have something in common that CannCon doesn't. You know,
you guys wore old uniforms.
Me and Clay came from a time where you actually had to iron your uniforms, right?
Oh, I had to iron my uniform.
No,
not my camis. I had to iron my uniforms, but not my camis.
Yeah, you guys, the camis, they turned them into pajamas, you know, and I hated when the Marine Corps did that. I was like, just do that pattern on the same kind of material we already use. Why are we going to these pajamas? But nonetheless, there's that. But you know, for the PSYOPs that are going on right now, And I want to start off with this. If anybody takes anything away from this this part of the conversation, take this. When you go to social media, and one, I think it's a mistake to even think that when you go onto these apps that you're really on social media. That's what we're all led to believe. But this is the trenches of information warfare. This is where agendas are pushed. This is where even just basic marketing. But for what we're talking about, this is like ground zero for propaganda, for agendas, for operations. And so if you acknowledge that as you go onto these social media platforms or podcasts or Substacks, anything with alt media, as long as you recognize that this is the environment you're walking into, you're at least preparing yourself not to get sucked in to whatever, the SIAC is that's occurring. Like you have that going for you at a minimum. You're at least, your eyes are open. If you go in there thinking, oh, it's social media and it's only social media, you're going to fall victim. Like, you are going to fall victim 100% of the time. So just ask yourself the question, are you using social media or is social media using you? And there's only one correct answer there. The other thing that I'll say is, I think a lot of us, myself included, I think we've abandoned the 72-hour rule. And I think that has been getting us into trouble. We're rushing to have the immediate answers the second the headlines are printed. And I think they're starting to exploit it. I think we're taking the bait on that. And I think we got to, touch grass, again, and be like, all right, these are the headlines. We're going to talk about it, but let's monitor this, because in some cases we're seeing within 4 to 5 hours a counter report coming out, and so we got to make sure we protect our integrity, but we also got to make sure that we're not emotionally biting off on these things, because ultimately, what is the race for? What is everybody trying to, and this goes back to one of the first things that I was taught as a cop, and it didn't make as much sense then as it does now. And I think a lot of it because I was naive. I had a perception, but I remember a sergeant told me, he goes, when you realize that perception is more powerful than truth, you'll figure it out. And I remember thinking like, nah, man, nothing's more powerful than truth. And because you're naive, like, you're looking at the world through that lens. And then as, my career progressed, I was like, okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense. And now it's just like, holy shit, does it make more sense? Truth will always win, but it's slow. It's always going to play catch up.
True. Yeah. So perception versus truth. Perception has too many mitigating factors. Truth is truth, right? It's the truth no matter what. But perception is where you grab on to what you want, right? You have desires, so it's going to push you. Desires and wants are going to push you in one direction in terms of perception, and the exact opposite, dislikes and pushing back against something you don't want to occur is going to push you in different directions. Truth, it does take a longer time for that to prevail. The problem is like how do you know if you arrive at truth right away? This is, you're spot on with the 72-hour rule thing. And as somebody that does a daily news show every day, there's a lot of times when I have to look at something and be like, well, if it's not court cases or something that's, ink to paper, it's very difficult. And the shootings we saw in Minneapolis recently were case in point on that. And we got bad information from both sides on that right away. I hate to say it because I think overall, I think it was a justified shooting. I don't think it was the best shooting in the world at all, but it was justified. But the fog of war that was presented to us by our own side was, hey, he was armed. He went for his gun. In reality, he didn't even have his gun on him, right? And that's kind of the 72-hour rule right there. And they didn't even abide by it. And I really think that that's something that they need to consider. Just real quick, when I first covered that, I had said one of the things they need to address are SOPs. And they've had people in the Trump administration come out and say now they need to address their SOPs. But yeah, I'll hand it back to you.
No, was to that point you made about with this bringing up the 72-hour rule again. This is why, And you mentioned it earlier, SIAC versus PSYOP.
Right.
You know, a lot of times people think that the SIAC itself, and just so people can understand, and you know, supplement me or correct me if I'm don't explain this well enough, that the SIAC is it's like the individual act, or you know, a cumulative series of acts that there. It's the tangible. It's what's actually unfolding. It's the event. The PSYOP is what's the narrative, the agenda, the long-term thing that's here that's trying to be facilitated. And a lot of people will look at a SIAC as that's the PSYOP. And you know, it's not necessarily wrong, but that perspective of thinking can make you actually miss what the actual PSYOP is. You know, you're not realizing that there's might have been things that came to this moment where this PSYOP now happened that's getting you a reaction, and you're reacting because you've already been in the PSYOP. You didn't realize it because you're only measuring it by the specific PSYOPs. And I don't know if you want to add to that. I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up.
No, I think that's a great point. And a lot of people don't distinguish the difference between a PSYOP and a PSYAC. You know, PSYACs are in the immediate right now, what's going on, and the PSYOP is the generalized or the general program that you're witnessing. And I think that's a really good distinction that needs to be made. Yeah, man, the thing we're seeing right now, and this is something you and I talk about all the time, and we'll probably end it with this segment here, but the PSYOPs that are being rolled out right now against us. And you know, you and I have had conversations about maybe this is deliberately, I think it's misleading people for a purpose. And I think it was yesterday, it might have been after this morning, when I was like, okay, maybe I will buy into the Venezuela thing a little bit. Like you had to put that out there in order to get Maduro, but the psychological operation is continuing. But I'll let you elaborate more on that, because that was kind of your idea. Yeah, I'm throwing you under the bus on this one, because I don't.
Here's where I stand. I will brag because I'm batting near 100%. There's one that I might get wrong. You
just took away my fucking huck buck because you said 100%, even though it wasn't in context.
Well, I'm talking about a lot of the big positions that I've had. Although I think I might be wrong on one. You know what I mean? I was pretty certain Vance was bad, bro. With all the research that I did into him, I was like, "What the hell are you doing, President Trump?" And it's looking, and I'd be happy to be wrong about that, you know. And things are looking, you know, promising. You know, we will see. There's still, you know, nearly 3 years that's left, but I'm more. I want us to win more than I want to be right. You know, if I'm wrong about my position on Venezuela, I'm okay with that. I can adjust. You know what I mean? I don't mind coming and telling my audience, hey, look at this is the lens that I looked at it with. You know, I made my assessment based off of, you know, information I had from credible sources. And then this doesn't take away from sources, because everybody's operating off the information that's given to them. And this is what I came to. And then maybe I end up being wrong. I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to. I think where you challenge me, but I think we actually are more on the same page than we realize, is you're looking at this is what it is. You know, this is where the company actually came from. This is where the people, this is what it is. And I'm looking at it as kind of like, well, yeah, that's what's been left for people to find. That's the breadcrumb trail. But, you know, do we trust the breadcrumb trails that have been left for us? You know, and then the alternative is, okay, well, then do we trust people like, you know, your favorite guy, you know, Patrick Byrne? I like Byrne. You know, I'm a Patrick.
I know
Byrne.
You like Byrne.
I like Byrne, man. I think he's nuts. I think he's crazy, but I like him. You know, but he's got a mission to put certain information out there. And what I'm saying is, somewhere in the midst of what he's putting out there and what you guys are doing, because you guys are doing phenomenal work. The stuff that you and Colonel are talking about, you're not wrong. You can prove, like, you can show, like, here's the history of where we're getting this information from. I'm just saying that it expands farther than that, and it's harder to support that argument because a lot of it is speculation from assessments. But I'm gonna say that over the last 4 years, these assertions that I've made have been playing out, man. They've been playing out like pretty damn precise, and the Q-tards hate me with some of my positions. The anti-Q people hate me with some of my positions. One group calls me a Zionist, the other group calls me a jihadist. Like, it's just like, if I go off the titles people give me, I'm gonna be fucking confused. But at the end of the day, I think what we're going to find out is, Occam's razor. There's an elite group of people that have been corrupting our elections through proxy of foreign groups and domestic groups, and that's all going to get exposed. And there's a lot of different colors to how that's going to look, but I think in its simplest explanation, that's what we're going to end up finding out. CannCon's like, you just word salad the shit out of me, and I'm so lost.
It's not that you word salad the shit out of me. It's that I have spent 5 years digging into elections and everything else, and the gist of what Patrick Byrne talks about. And nothing he's saying right now has panned out at all. Like, we still don't have any involvement of Venezuelans in our election other than the Venezuelans that were expats in Florida. The Maduro story specifically the Maduro part. You and I said this earlier. It could be Venezuelans that are involved in this in some form or fashion, but it's in conjunction with globalists. There's no question about that.
100%.
It's in conjunction with globalists.
Now
I did
intelligence agencies, our intelligence agencies, 100%.
Yeah, I just don't. It's hard for me to take this psyop, and that's what once you disclose that you're CIA, everything you say to me is a psyop in some form or fashion, right? It's hard for me to accept that Maduro has been controlling our elections for the better half of a decade and has not done anything to benefit himself or his country in any form or fashion.
Let me ask you this. Do you think our president I'm going to say it the way it is. It is what it is. Do you think our president is weaponizing media in order to help him with the tactical and strategic operations that he's trying to play? Knowing that some of this information is disinformation, misinformation, that maybe it's not because he wants the American people to fall for it, but he understands that there are other intelligence agencies monitoring this, the globalists, the deep state, name whatever country, and that a lot of the stuff he's doing is to walk these people into traps, thinking that this is what we're thinking or this is what we're believing, so nobody knows what he's actually doing behind the scenes. Do you think that he's doing things like that?
Perhaps, to an extent, yeah. To an extent.
I would say
I do think it's over. I think it's over exaggerated.
I would say he's absolutely 110% doing that, and I think I have evidence of that.
Well, we'll have to talk about that on another show because
it's just one sentence.
What's that one sentence? Alpha, you are gay. Oh,
he did not push Congress to remove the Smith Modernization Act.
So I told you when I asked somebody about that at Mar-a-Lago when I was there, somebody in the Trump circle, and they said, "What's that?" And I was like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah. So I was in the presence of somebody that I absolutely admire. I mentioned that, and they did the same thing. And my reaction,
probably the same fucking person, to be honest with you.
And my reaction is all.
They probably were like, "You've been hanging out with that fucking Lupo guy too much."
You know exactly what this shit is. Don't even play. And here's the thing. He didn't push to have it removed. He didn't create an executive order to go after it because he's using it. And whether we like it or we don't, it's the military strategy.
I can get behind that.
But
All
when
right,
he
let's
does start to push the conversation, or people in his circle start to push the conversation to remove it, I think that's going to be a huge signifier that we're approaching the last quarter of this game.
All right, D Patriot 1776. Love to you both. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Claricat 367 CannCon Alpha. You are both still on the front lines, serving and fighting this war, just in a different battle space. Thank you and bless you both. This one's more comfortable, but not nearly as exciting. I would like the adrenaline rush every once in a while, although the last couple days have been an adrenaline rush. Artsy Jones, so proud of you both. So glad you are here helping us navigate the chaos. God bless. Thank you, Artsy. It's good to see you. Thank you. S. Busen, thank you both for your service then and now. I agree with Claire Cat's rant. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. George Emmy, Alpha, we built our homes out of Quonset. It's stunning. What the fuck is Quonset?
Kwanzaa huts.
Kwanzaa huts. Is that
you know, I've seen some of those channels, like from like the Discovery and all that, where people do it, and they do look pretty badass. We just didn't. The ones we had definitely weren't badass.
That's cool. And thank you to Josh for rating us earlier. Constitutional. Yeah, you rated us earlier. Constitutional Patriot Grunt says, climb Mount Mother with 7 rifles from part of a squad that dropped, had to account for all weapons by the time we were dead, so ended up at 7 during the hump as the squad leader. Yeah, sounds like uphill in the snow both ways. Get that shit out of here. Just kidding. You're a badass. We got you. The new Prue. What I remember about Mount Motherfucker is not only was it straight up, but the higher you got, the more loose the ground was beneath me. 5 lunges turned into 2 lunges. You guys are turning this into like, oh yeah, the fish I caught was this big.
No, bro.
Yeah,
this
you guys
thing,
are full of shit.
it,
Hollywood pussies, dude.
Bro, it is crazy. It was crazy. And when we hit it, there was a rain that came through a few weeks before. There was all these water ruts, bro. I feel for these guys.
Climb a little mountain in my perfectly beautiful 71-degree weather with no humidity. It was miserable.
No, it gets hot. It's beautiful weather. It's beautiful weather, but it gets hot. Summer in California is still summer.
Huck Fillery, pledge met for today's daily. Love the stories and debates tonight. Perception and truth are subject to opinion. Sadly, salient soliloquies are strikingly conspicuous. Are you trying me out? Synonymous with sticking out. He is trying me out right there because I said I can't say saliently earlier, and so that's a tongue twister right there. By the way, I was focused so hard on pronouncing that right that I did not get the meaning of that sentence. So try it again tomorrow, Huck Fillery. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Alpha, what you got coming up, brother?
Someone do a safety check on Clay. I have a feeling he's probably putting on like his DI uniform right now. Fuck those guys. I still got this shit. I won't die.
I was talking to Clay before the show, so he's good.
New premiere tonight, you guys. It's the fun kind of everything show with me and Josh. We've kind of been teasing about this intro. That'll be cool. So if you guys want to catch it, you can go watch it on my channel. You can go watch it on Josh's. It's I think 11 or 11:30. I can't remember. It's one of those times.
All right, there you go. And tomorrow, Badlands Daily, 10 a.m. We'll have Why We Vote at 7:30, and I think I'm doing Stinchfield at 7. We'll see if President Trump decides he wants to speak again and shut me out again. But yeah. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. God bless. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media.